Hey, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to the Sage Dragon Book Show. I am your host, Shaquana. For anyone who is new to my show that I started back in April, this is a weekly multi stream experience promoting my love of books. So I discuss different books that I'm reading, but also just the reading world. So, book news, things going on with our independent bookstores, our libraries, digital creators, all things books and reading. So you can find us. It's brought to you by the Real HD Network. I multi-stream, so you can type Sage Dragon Book Club to find previous episodes. And today is Let Freedom Read Day. Did you know that? We're going to talk about that some more. So let's get into it. Censorship is so 1984. That is the theme of today's episode, and it is the isn't that a nice graphic that was created by the Ban Books Week movement and organization. I'll talk about that. And they have a lot of different materials that you can use and download in your anything that you're doing to promote reading and specifically to promote banning the anti-ban book movement. So before we get into that, I'm going to get into the book news segment. This is an exciting week. It's always an exciting week for for book news. So I have a couple of things to share. One, the short list for the Booker Prize was released this week, and the Booker Prize is a prominent award in literature. They award in different categories and literature. And the short list, the long list book list was announced a couple of weeks ago, and I covered that. And then they have the short list. So these books are Flesh, The Land and Water, The Rest of Our Lives, Audition, The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny, and Flashlight. Anybody read any of the books from the short list? I did read one of the books from the long list called Universality, which was really profound. I'd love to talk about that in an upcoming episode. So that's the short list for Booker. On to book new, on to the National Book Awards, which is the United States version of the book awards, and they released their short list as well. And I'm not going to read them all, but you can go to nationalbook.org to find out the list. Looks like some amazing books. Scorched Earth. I kept seeing that. That's in the poetry section by Tiana Clark. But anybody read any of the books that are finalists? Yeah. So very exciting. They're going to announce theirs. They have an awards ceremony in New York City in November, but you can also stream the awards if you want to see it. Can we put that up? The book, um, the National Foundation. Yeah, thank you. Maybe you already listed it. I just didn't see it. So congratulations to all of the finalists. They in each category in each awards, both for the Booker Awards and the National Book Awards, they get financial awards. But I feel like based on the amount of money, it really is the recognition and all that comes from it because you get more book sales. That is the win. But they do get some uh, financial winnings with those. But I just think getting to become a finalist is an honor, a long list finalist, and then to get the short list. And then sometimes you'll see them become judges in previous years and just they constantly get that promotion They're in all the bookstores. So it's a great opportunity for authors. And I want to learn more about the process myself. So, book of the week, moving on to that. Uh, it's this week's book of the week is called Lot by Brian Washington. A very powerful book. And you all know that it's also, in addition to being Banned Book Week and Let Freedom Read Day, you got to keep all these observances. It's also National Hispanic Month. And all month I've been reading and covering books written by authors from the Hispanic diaspora. And Brian Washington is an Afro Latino writer. And this book is it's kind of hard to explain. So I'll read a little bit of the synopsis. In the city of Houston, a sprawling, diverse microcosm of America, the son of a Black mother and Latino father is coming of age. He's working at his family restaurant, weathering his brother's blows, resenting his older sister's absence, and discovering he likes boys. Around him, others live and thrive and die in Houston's myriad neighborhoods. A young woman whose affair detonates across an apartment complex, a ragtag baseball team, a group of young hustlers, hurricane survivors, a local drug dealer who takes a Guatemalan teen under his wing, and a reluctant chupacabra, which I had to look up what that was. Brian Washington's brilliant, viscerally drawn world vibrates with energy, wit, or power. And that's just some more description. So, this is a collection of short stories that are interwoven together by a singular character. And it takes place, as they said, in Houston. And it really delves into a lot of lives of people who are undocumented and living in poverty, living on the edge. And it just gets into all these different experiences. But the guy that is the main character, his name isn't even said throughout the whole book. He is, his father is out of the picture. His mother is running this restaurant. He has he's um, finding his sexual identity and being gay, and but he's undercover with it, and he's going through a lot. Then the neighborhood is changing, but the book is also, it gets into all these other stories. It was that writer Brian Washington has a bright future ahead. This book did get a lot of acclaim. I would say for me, it was I would give it about 3.5 stars. I do think that it was really interesting and some great stories, but the issue was I just felt it to be a little disjointed at times, because from what I also understand, some of the stories written from were published previously, and they brought it together. But I do think it's a worthwhile read. It's a solid read, and I look forward to more from this writer. A little bit more about the author. He's an American writer from Houston. He published Lot in 2019. 32 years old, went to high school, and he is, I think he also teaches. And his notable awards are Dylan Thomas Prize and Ernest Gain Award. And he has something called Memorial. But yeah, it was very good. I think it's just the fact that, like I said, it was a lot going on, and it wasn't one story, but he did develop the characters well, and it was some profound prose in there. So I would recommend it. I think it's a good one for maybe kids in high school or college to read. So that was our book segment, and we're going to now get into today's topic, book bans. But first, Sesame Street.
Now, let me see. Under the present Dewey Decimal System, this book belongs...
Wow! Look at all these books! Me never seen so many books before!
Shh!
Oh, yeah, right.
All right.
Oh!
Quiet, please.
I did not see wastebasket.
All right.
Excuse me, sir. Sir? Could you tell me what you're doing with all these books here?
Oh, why, this is a library. Yes, people come here to borrow books they'd like to read.
Oh, that's terrific! This library!
Yes.
Oh! Well, that's great because me try hard to read.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
Now, what can I get you?
Well, me want a book about Little Red Riding Hood.
All right.
And 1 box of cookies, please.
Maybe you don't understand. You see,
What?
this is a library.
Yeah?
Yes, we have books here. Only books. We have no cookies.
You
you understand?
Me see. Okay,
Right, very
okay. Then let's see. Me take book of nursery rhymes.
All right.
And a box of cookies, please.
We don't have cookies. We only have books. Just books. No cookies. All right?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Right. Got it now. Okay. Then let's see. Me take picture book.
Picture book.
Yeah, and a box of cookies.
How many times do I have to tell you we don't have cookies? Only books.
Oh, okay.
Just books.
Okay.
No cookies.
Okay, no get upset. Okay? Don't get excited. Me not fussy.
All right.
Just give me box of cookies.
No! We don't have cookies. No cookies. Just books. That's all. No cookies. Understand? Just books. Books.
You know what? Me get feeling you only have books.
That's right. Just books.
Me got it now. Okay.
All right.
Good.
At last.
Good.
Now, what do you want?
Me want book about cookies.
Fine. That we have. A book about cookies. Good.
And a glass of milk, please.
We got to get some cookies in the library. What do you guys think? Oh, shout out to the libraries and all the librarians. I thought that was a fun video.
Let me add on for a second. The cranky librarian is so real.
I know they were out there. They are. They're out there. I just came across one. I won't name names, but I had to go to a different library because my local library is closed for renovations. And when I went into this one, I got one of those cranky ones. So it is real. But we also got our real kind librarians too.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that part. So in 2025, book censorship in the United States is rampant and common. Never before in the life of any living American have so many books been systematically removed from school libraries across the country. Never before have so many states passed laws or regulations to facilitate the banning of books, including bans on specific titles statewide. Never before have so many politicians sought to bully school leaders into censoring according to their ideological preferences, even threatening public funding to exact compliance. Never before has access to so many stories been stolen from so many children. That comes from the normalization of book banning from the PEN America organization, and you can read more about them. Got a video to show you on what it means. Well, actually, more to come there. I got a video to show you about Ban Book Week. Let's show it.
Did you know the Diary of Anne Frank was once banned by a textbook committee for being a real downer?
No.
Have you heard of Banned Books Week?
Banned Books Week. Is that a week about books dedicated to bands and musical marchings?
Not quite.
The American Library Association defines a book challenge as an attempt to remove or restrict materials based upon the objections of a person or group. A ban is the removal of those materials. Banned Book Week encourages libraries, authors, educators, booksellers, parents, and readers of all ages to defend and support reading material for all. Hundreds of books have been banned over the years, and this number will only increase if books continue to be censored or challenged. We shouldn't have to hide the books we want to read. By banning books, we are restricting the voices of people that deserve to be heard. This is a reminder that we have freedom of expression. This is a reminder that we discover ideas and information through this expression. This is a reminder that books are for reading, not burning.
Thank you to Boone County Public Library for that educational video. Yeah, so I did a lot of research on this issue of banning books and things like what is the difference between a book challenge and a book ban. And there is a website that has more information on it. Can we pull up that website? It is the PEN America website. And can we scroll down to the frequently asked questions? Yeah, and it talks about what is a book ban, what is a school book ban. Yeah, it's a not-for-profit, so they're, in need of funding if anyone wants to support them, because they do a lot of great work. They track the book bans, they educate people, and then they connect to other resources. How many books have been banned in schools? So can we click on what is a school ban? PEN America defines that as any action taken against a book based on its PEN America, based on its doesn't something is missing. CPEN. CPEN American defines a school book ban as any action taken against a book based on its content and as a result of parent or community challenges, administrative decisions, or in response to direct or threatened action by lawmakers or other government officials. So you can learn more about that. Can you scroll down to a couple of other questions that are pertinent? Scroll down a little more. I thought that, oh yeah, this one I thought was interesting. Is a book really banned if students can find it elsewhere? Again, it's about access. School libraries play a vital role in keeping literature accessible to students. And that's true because let's say there's a book that is not everyone can get from a bookstore, or they don't have the funds to buy the book, or there's not a lot of bookstores in certain communities, but the library is there. So that's what they're talking about there. Many students in the US attend schools without libraries or librarians, or in districts without ready access to public libraries. Not all parents have the time or means to access public libraries or to purchase books. Oh, I see what they're meaning. So they're saying, they're going a step further, that even the libraries, the public libraries may be limited. And sometimes for some kids, the school library is one of their only ways to access books. So if you take those books out of the school libraries, it further limits our children's access to diverse education and information. And it can give them a very homogenous way of seeing the world. Efforts to censor or ban books have also spread to prisons, public libraries, and booksellers, belaying the idea that current efforts to censor books are only focused on schools. So that's a really interesting fact. Scroll down a little more, please. See if there's anything else. Oh, here's one. What's the difference between a book ban and a challenge? A book challenge is any attempt to restrict or remove a book based on objectives to its content. A ban is the removal or restriction of those materials. So it all starts with a challenge, and that's what that librarian was talking about in the previous video. I have a gripe against a particular book. I put a challenge out there, enough people get behind it, and then it becomes a ban, and then it gets removed. And scroll down a little more. I wanted to see if there's any other. Um, what do you think, producer? You think any of these other ones are worth sharing? Who is behind today's movement to ban books?
That's the one I was gonna pick.
That's well, I saw you hover it, so that's why I said it. So thank you. I think that is a good one. Since 2021, a campaign has emerged in many parts of the United States to advocate for the censorship of books in public schools. This campaign is driven by politics, state lawmakers, executive branch officials pushing for bans in some cases. Direct political pressure by politicians and other state officials, such as attorney generals, has led to book bans in countless districts. Legislation fused book bans has passed increasing numbers since 2021. So that was a critical time in this movement to criminalize librarians, target specific content. Combined political pressure and mandates have been tied to thousands of book bans across the country. Because I didn't remember hearing about this as much over like the 90s, and then like since, and even throughout the times when my kids were in school. But it really, I mean, it was always a thing I was reading about, but they said it's just grown over the years. So that was a very helpful resource. And then there's also this map that they have on their website under the link, the normalization of book banning. Can we put that up? Oops. There we go. So if you go to the site, you can see data that there's been state level shifts. And how the book ban map works is it's an interactive tool, and you can hover over states to see the number of bans. For instance, Florida shows 767 attempted bans. And then you can switch between state level or county level data using the map's built-in toggle. So, it's interactive basically, and it's color coded. So the states that are shaded in purple with darker hues represents the higher number of bans. And this map was created by Little Free Library in collaboration with American Libraries Association's Office for Intellectual Freedom in PEN America. County level shifts. Florida is a hot spot. In 2024, Clay County led. In 2025, some of these counties are big. There's been a spike in Iowa. And then on a state level, Tennessee had the largest increase nationwide in book bans, from 350 to 1,252. Texas also remains very high. And South Carolina, Washington, and Oregon all saw notable increases. So I thought that was interesting to see which states this is growing in. And for those of us who may have families in these states, or may be relatives that are raising children, or just concerned, this is an area that you can get involved in as an activist. So today, which was really cool, is Let Freedom Read Day. And I was really excited to be hosting my event, my virtual show on Let Freedom Read Day. And it's October 11th. So it's early, so we still have a lot of time to do things today. We're asking everyone to take at least one action to defend books from censorship. Stand up for library staff, educators, writers, publishers, and booksellers who make them available. Show us how you're taking action on social media. I've been posting throughout the week using the hashtag Let Freedom Read Day and Ban Books Week. But we always want to go beyond just doing hashtags. And they will, this organization will continue to add resources for it. And so they give you Let Freedom Read steps you can take that are more impactful than just a hashtag. And they break it down in 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and 30 minutes. And I like this because we want to be more active, and we need more justice oriented activities in all these different causes. And sometimes you're like, what can I do? So I like how they did this in the 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, hour brackets. And I think it would be great to see this in even other areas that we need activism for. So if you have 5 minutes, you can call a decision maker, you can support an advocacy organization, and then you can go onto the United Against Book Bans page and add your name. And you'll start getting targeted messages for mobilization opportunities. If you're willing to put 15 minutes in, you can go check out a banned book that helps. Circulation matters. Circulation data is used to support keeping challenged books on shelves and to justify ordering more books by the same author. It's advertisement. Buy a banned book. Censorship doesn't just harm libraries. You can also donate the books you purchase to the little free libraries. We got so many in the Rochester area. In my neighborhood, there's a ton of them. Anybody out there listening? Do you have little free libraries like in your area? It's like outside people's houses and in parks and stuff, and they have these really pretty, and you can put books in, you could take books. That's a good way to get involved in it. You can host fundraisers. If you have 30 minutes, write a letter or email to a local school and library boards, elected officials, to ask them to defend the right to read, and can show library staff, educators, and vulnerable readers that you support them. And you can also plan a meeting, an event like I'm doing here. While decisions about book bans and library policies are being made at all levels of government, some of the biggest battles are being fought locally. Plan to attend local board and city councils. And, we have a very this is something that I think is needs to be said more, which is we can be local, we can get involved in our local politics more. And the school board is a big one. And the county boards are a big one. Oftentimes, people don't go to those meetings and decisions are made. If we started going and flooding those meetings, things would move differently. It's not just what's the macro and the presidents and the senators. We can act locally and be involved locally, and we can divvy up because we can't, no one person can do anything. So you could take an issue, and I can take an issue, and so can take an issue, and your team can take one, and we can just divvy up. Maybe I go to the environmental stuff and you go to this, you know what I mean? And we flood these areas, but we got to get more locally involved in local politics. It's not just macro, but I'm not trying to be on a soapbox here. So that's how we can help with Let Freedom Read. What action are you willing to take in the fight against banned books? I want to put that out there. John from Twitch says, there are multiple sources to get free books all over. Down here in Baltimore, we have a great book fair this October, in fact. Thank you, John, for that comment. Fun fact, I used to live in Baltimore, and I used to go to that book festival. I remember us going and taking the kids. That's a really great festival. So, yeah. Any actions people want to take to fight against this? Think about, like, if anyone has ever read a book that has just like opened their mind up, entertained them, changed their perspective, just helped you grow. I just think about so many books that did that. Imagine that the world just not having them. That's just not acceptable.
So many autobiographies are powerful too. Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X, Asada Shakur. Those things motivate like nobody's business.
Yeah, they do. So, in addition to the Let Freedom Read Day page, I also found linked this organization, United Against Book Bans, and they have a resource to help people defend books from censorship. It's called a book resume. So they detail each title's significance and educational value and are easy to share with administrators, book review committees, and elected officials. So I'm going to show you two examples of how you could use the book resume. When I was looking through it, I thought this is a helpful resource. So, for example, one of the books is called A Day No Pigs Would Die. I had never heard of this book, and it's written by Robert Newton Peck. So, if you go to the, they have a summary of it. It's a 13-year-old Vermont farm boy whose father slaughters pigs for a living. Maturity comes early as he learns, quote unquote, doing what's got to be done, especially regarding his pet pig who cannot produce a litter. So you could imagine that he's on a farm, he's made this connection to this pet pig, and the pet pig is not fertile. So you know what's going to happen. So this was a book, I guess, that's been taught. So the book resume page gives the synopsis and talks about the positive things about the book, different awards and accolades that it has provided. I think what could strengthen this is if they went a little further into how it can educate, so that there's a reason why people are using it. But they have, like, the sale date, the age range, which that's an important one, and the grade range, seventh and up. And this is recommended by the School Library Journal. So then I also thought to myself, I wonder what the concern was. So when I Googled it, I came across this page by a review by someone called The Introverted Reader. And she did a synopsis. So what in her page, this person is reading a lot of the banned books and then doing a synopsis of their perspective on these books. So she summarized it, 12-year-old growing up in Vermont, and his father works hard to keep the farm going, but he also works slaughtering pigs for a neighbor. Papa makes sure that Robert goes to school to learn how to read and write, opportunities he never had. But Papa is also passing down practical wisdom for running a farm and the qualities of a good man and a good neighbor. And so some of the critique is they're saying there's toxic masculinity, there's poverty, there's animal cruelty. I forgot what else it was because I looked up what the concerns were. And this person said they chose the book because it was fairly short, and number 16 on, well, that was there, 16 on the list of the most frequently channeled. It was number 16 on the list of the most frequently challenged books from 1990 through 1999, which was that person's school years. So people kept bringing up an issue with this book. Mostly it's been banned because of its graphic animal scenes. And the person said they can honestly see how a parent could object to them, but that doesn't give anyone the right to remove it from everyone else's hands. I wanted to go down a layer with this conversation because it's one thing for us to say, yeah, it's not right to ban books. But when you are a parent or a guardian and your kids are growing up and you have certain values certain things you don't agree with, certain lifestyles. So, for instance, I'm in the vegan journey. Should I not allow my kid to read this? Because I could see reading this and being disturbed about what's going to happen to that pig. So that's what I wanted to bring up today. How do you balance those feelings, or how do you process that in a world of censorship? Because I think it can be done. I just wanted to hear various people's perspectives that may be on. So if you were a parent, would you object your teen reading this book? And like I said, it's a whole bunch of things that the book gets into. He's passing down um, advice on manhood. There's a lot of people nowadays that feel some of those lessons may be considered misogynistic. And I don't even know if they are, because I never read the book. But I just noticed that there's a different climate now for manly type of information that, in the 80s it was more acceptable. So, how do you feel about that as guardians? Any comments out there before I move on to the second example? Oops.
If there's comments, I'll put them up as they come.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so I hear this question. How do you balance concerns about age appropriateness? That comes up quite a bit with some of these. Or or you have personal values, um, and a book, a fiction story, that's on your kid's summer reading list. You look at it and you're like, well, I'm not for, you don't support personally LGBTQ lifestyle. You don't support personally Black Lives Mattering, or whatever your issues are and things that you have your personal stances on. Is that a reason for your child or for people that you may be helping to mold and grow to read books? And I want to get people's honest views on that. So even if you're writing, even if you're listening for the future, because we like to go back and look at these comments, please put it in the chat or on the comment board, because we're trying to build community around this. And I want to help move the conversation not in a direction, but move the conversation to elevate us, because I think that people have a right to have concerns, but I don't agree with censoring. And also, I would think that oftentimes when educators are picking these books, they're looking at the appropriateness, age appropriateness. So here's another example that the book resume showed, and it's a very common book that gets banned a lot. It's The Bluest Side. So if we could put that one up. Can
Oh,
we?
we got one here.
Okay.
Here we go.
Janelle from IG says, we can't pick our kids' teachers, and often through books, teachers pass off their values to our young ones. That can be tricky if it goes against Christian values or home values. Yeah, it can be tricky. And that's why I wanted to know, I would like to know how you balance that. Because, right, we don't pick our teachers, I mean, for our kids. And you could put them in certain schools. I think that's why some people put their kids in religious schools if they're very deeply Christian or have deep faiths. And that takes care of some of it, because when those educators are selecting books, they're doing that, they're keeping that in mind. Although, I went to a Catholic school, all girls Catholic school, And I read The Bluest Eye, which is one of the most banned books. But that was the 90s too. So, very different climate right now. Yeah, it can be tricky. Everyone has the right to raise their children as they see. But yes, so this is the second book resume, The Bluest Eye. It was Morrison's first novel about a girl named Pecola Breedlove, an 11-year-old Black girl in America whose love for its blonde, blue eyed children can devastate all others. Prays for her eyes to turn blue so that she will be beautiful, so that people will look at her and the world will be different. This is the story of the nightmare at the heart of her yearning. And this shows the um, different media resources, a lot of links on why it was written. That could be helpful. Interview with Toni Morrison, her motivation for writing it, and then how they responded to the book challenges over the years. Some of the complaints about the book are child sexual abuse and incest. The novel depicts the protagonist enduring repeated sexual abuse and incest. Sexually explicit content. There's complaints often cite the presence of sexually explicit material. Racism and internalized racism. The book explores themes of racial self loathing and the devastating effects of Eurocentric beauty standards on Black girls, which some find challenging to confront. The underlying socialist communist agenda. I have not read The Bluest Eye in years. I don't remember that. Every other bullet I could remember, but I wondered what they meant by that and what was part of it, what parts of the book made it seem like there was an agenda for socialists and communists. But the socialist communist things, so many things have been related to that. So, but these are all the reasons why this book is heavily banned across the country. So again, I pose the question. Now, this book isn't being taught for 5-year-olds or even 12-year-olds. Most of the time, it's like high school and up. So, would you object your teen reading this book? Wanted to throw that out there. Anything out there? Um, or also, when it comes to reading some of these books, there's a way to facilitate the conversation that could help put a wall between making a person absorb it as their own life and looking at it as a separate thing. And that's where that's a skill set. So if you're training educators and people that are guiding you on how to read these books and the concept, it won't be indoctrination. There's certain words you can use that can help show that this is a story. So I think that when I think about any of the books that parents may be uncomfortable with, I wonder when these books are being challenged and there are, school board meetings or whatever, if there's enough of information and examples of how the book is going to be taught and because that makes a difference. The way something is framed and guided through a discussion makes a difference in how a person absorbs something, if that makes any sense. Okay, so in addition to that, I thought that was really a helpful resource for people. Check out the book resumes. I wanted to, I came across this information about Eleanor Roosevelt, who was a huge promoter of reading and literacy and the role of libraries in a healthy democracy and the universal right to intellectual freedom. And so she has an award, and this looks like a wonderful event is going on tonight here in New York, the Eleanor Roosevelt Band Book Awards, and it is in at the Bardavon Opera House. Looks really cool. And these are some of the authors that are going to be receiving the award. One of the big awards is going to Margaret Atwood, who wrote The Handmaid's Tale. I've never read that book, and I've heard amazing things about it. And of course, there's been a series based on the book. So, congratulations to all those authors and just people who are in literacy that are getting the awards. There's a librarian. There's a young lady who wrote this book called Hair Love about a Black girl's acceptance of her natural hair. And Matthew Cherry. I wonder what the connection is there. They might have collaborated. So Matthew Cherry and Vashti Harrison are both getting the award for Hair Love. And then this book is Gay by Juno Dawson. I'm not familiar. I've seen the title, but I don't know what the book is about. It looks like it's celebrating LGBTQ themes. John Green, Looking for Alaska. I wonder what that one is. I'm going to check that out. Justin Richardson, Entangle Makes Three, and Peter Parnell. I wonder if these are the illustrators. And then there's Melinda Lowe, Last Night at the Telegraph Club. So some books that I've never heard of, but congratulations to all of them that are going to be getting that honor. I've got this video that I came across that gives more insight into it's called Can You Guess Why These children's books were banned? So can we play that?
Welcome back to Primary Focus, the Parent's Guide to Elementary School. We are back with another banned book game. During this game, we're going to take a look at some of the most widely banned and challenged children's books in public schools and libraries across the United States. A quick note here, typically I cite the specific city or school district that has tried to ban the book, but because these are so widely contested, I am simply going to list the states I found that had the most bans and challenges in them. You can always go into the description below where I cite my sources. Oh, and as we go along, make sure that you're guessing your answers in the comments down below. Let's get into the books. Why was A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo banned in Florida? A, comedians shouldn't write books. This was written by John Oliver and his team as a parody. B, it makes fun of then Vice President Mike Pence. C, LGBTQ plus characters. Or D, Marlon Brando sued for the rights to his name. And that's right, the answer is C. This book is absolutely hated in Florida schools because it violates the Don't Say Gay law. This is a book about bunnies who fall in love and get married, but I guess we don't like gay animals at all. Look at some of the other books that I've covered. Based on a true story about penguins at the zoo. It's two, I think, male penguins that raise two male penguins that raise a baby together. We're encouraging animals to be gay? That's my guess. This is a satirical book that also has a heartwarming story for kids, sort of a double entendre depending on who is reading it. And I have to say, I think some of the politics in here might be a reason why it was banned. That said though, Florida districts have shown us again and again that they do not want anything gay in their schools. So better luck next time, Marlon. Next one. Why was It's Perfectly Normal by Robbie H. Harris and Michael Emberley challenged and banned? A, it's smut-filled pornography. B, bodies are gross. C, it's not normal. Or D, it's sexually explicit. And that's right. D, it's sexually explicit. And technically, I guess that is the answer, but as I was reading this, I did find a quote calling this smut-filled pornography. This book, sadly, has been challenged or banned in states like Idaho, Missouri, Texas, Florida, Oregon, and Arizona, and so many more. Let's just go through and describe what this book, It's Perfectly Normal, is about. Now, I want you to see here at the title, it says very clearly for ages 10 and up. And that is because this is a puberty book. It is called It's Perfectly Normal, Changing Bodies, Growing Up, Sex, Gender, and Sexual Health. And so this is like a textbook for kids that are learning about their bodies. I am all in favor for books like this because it's so important that kids have an opportunity to learn about what is going on with their bodies, what's going on with other people's bodies, and have an outlet to be curious about these things without creating uncomfortable situations for others. This book certainly goes to a farther degree than your average American puberty book, but I don't think it is teaching children to do anything disgusting. Now, as I look through the table of contents here, it is explaining what sex is, it's explaining our bodies, it's explaining puberty, families and babies, decision making as an adult, and staying healthy. It goes into detail in a scientific way to explain all of these things. I would so much rather a child read from a scientific based textbook like this than go to a Spencer's Gifts and find out what these things are, or go and randomly Google these things and find out without the support of an adult. This is a great way to open up conversations as you are ready to with your child and read chapters so that you as the parent or adult or caretaker can use language that is inclusive and correct and scientific, and also teach your child to use that language. Something I really liked is that this book goes way beyond sexual health and puberty. For example, on page 87 here, there's a chapter called Staying Healthy, and it's all about being safe on the internet. It's called Helpful, Fun, Creepy, Dangerous, the Internet, and You. I don't know about you, but I do think social media, the internet, chat rooms, and things like that can open up a lot of doors and a lot of trouble for kids that are unguided and don't understand about safety rules. If we don't have an emphasis on internet safety, we have a big issue for our next generation. A lot of the issues are parents being concerned about a child stumbling upon this book. This says very clearly for children 10 and up on it, so I hope that it wouldn't accidentally end up where the baby books are in another section of the library. Either way, if your child can't read, you are just looking at illustrations of anatomy. I don't think we should teach children to be ashamed of bodies or embarrassed by them. We should be focused more on what bodies are for, privacy, and how to celebrate your body. Yes, there are illustrations throughout, but it is pretty text heavy with these thick columns. I cannot see a child really being interested in combing through this entire thing by themselves. Instead, this is a book for when you need it. It is absolutely something that I think a child would need support from an adult to get through or read small snippets of at a time. Just because a book isn't for you doesn't mean that there isn't another family that needs a book like this. It's Perfectly Normal, I think, is perfectly normal. I don't think it is smut-filled pornography. And now it's time for a mini game. This state has a law pending that will charge teachers and librarians with
so you could see that I think the book, woman who runs that page has a lot of information to help decipher the difference between if a book is helpful or if it's being maybe exaggerated. So that was a helpful resource I came across. I'm not in this area of my parenting journey anymore, but if I was, I would be looking at things that can help me go down a layer. Because a lot of stuff that's online is so sensationalized, like they said, smut-filled porn. But yet your kid can access smut-filled porn, and it ain't going to be that book. So, I mean, you can be uncomfortable with that, but there really is smut-filled porn out there, unfortunately. So, have you read any of these banned books? I was looking at this list here. Can we put that up? Yeah, it's a little blurry, but you got The Perks of Being a Wallflower, To Kill a Mockingbird. Have you read any of these? The Real HD producer. I read To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, a lot of them. To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh wow, so many of them. Looking for Alaska. The Fahrenheit.
What is that about? What is Looking for Alaska about? Because
the Fahrenheit book is really, really good. I'm looking at some of the other ones. Like you said, it's a little
The
blurry.
Hate You Give, Deja, she really liked that. She read that in high school.
Yeah, The
And I
Hate You Give. Yep, yep. I remember that. I didn't read it, but I remember the title.
uh, the
Um,
Hunger Games is on there. Do you know why they banned that?
it's about social inequality.
Okay.
It's heavy on the social inequality.
Mhm. Because it was such a popular show.
Hmm.
So, Brave New World, Alice, Drama, The Diary of Anne Frank, Tricks, Alice, The Wish Giver, The Color Purple, The Kite Runner, Beloved.
Yeah. So, and then you asked me about leaving Alaska. So, looking for Alaska. So, looking for Alaska was like coming of age story. Let me see what I can remember. It was coming of age story, kind of like a Huck Finn, where you
Mhm.
leave your social circle and
Okay.
you go on these explorations and you get into all types of stuff. But it
Mhm.
was set in Alaska. At least
Okay.
that's what I can remember about the book.
So, dang, if
And
my
then you get
phone is
into like a Pinocchio kind of thing.
okay, if my
You know how
phone was
Pinocchio
charging, if it
he
wasn't,
got himself in trouble and he started being in mixed company and all that type of stuff.
so what do you read it? So based on what you read, why do you think it was banned? Because I would have Googled it if my phone wasn't charging. What theme?
Because it kind of centers on like getting involved with the Alaska like mischievous young people that are out there, the thugs, the hooligans, the riffraff. You would never think that riffraff exists in Alaska, but
Okay,
based on the book, it does.
but there's
And
people
it's
living.
about young men getting involved with that. So I guess that's just something they don't want to have young men identify with.
Mhm,
But young men have to identify with it anyway. You grow
mhm,
up and you're not going to always stay in the same circles, and you're going to mix company, and you got
mhm,
to navigate those waters properly so you're a well-adjusted person.
mhm,
So I mean, I didn't think it was all that crazy. I read it in high school. I didn't think it was all that. I didn't like the way. You know what the problem with a lot of this is, and I hate to be so choppy with my comments, but uh, it's a lot of these books, especially with like when you're in high school, they're forced on you. It's
mhm.
not really like you have an option to choose what you're reading.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, and then the second thing I wanted to say goes back to that video that you showed was this is American parents and their, and I've been an educator for over 2 decades, so this is American parents and their non-involvement in school curriculum, and it's coming
Mhm.
home to roost.
Yeah.
Because if you did mob the parent teachers meetings and the parent teachers associations and the you know this or that or the all of the ways that you can be involved in your kids' education, then maybe you'd be able to head these books off before they even get out there. So if you
Mhm,
don't like a book about anatomy or sexuality or whatever they're putting out there, you can design how your kids are introduced to these themes.
mhm, mhm.
And not enough parents are involved. They just get outraged when their kid comes home with a book that's
Yeah.
about this or about that, and it's not exactly what they take them to church on Sunday and what those things profess, what
Yeah.
those church events try to, the mores that they try to profess in their services. So if it goes
Mhm.
against that for a large part of Middle America and South part of America, the Southern states, they get their tizzies in a bunch, and then they start, they want to raise hell after the fact.
Mhm.
But where were you when they were choosing what books for the kids to get involved with?
Yeah.
See what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
That's why I say it's coming home to roost, because you could have headed that off or chose some books that are appropriate for what you want your kids to get involved with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Um,
wonder if that's being if in these places where they are banning and they have been successful for banning these books, What are the books that are in place of these books? I'm curious about that. Or are there any books in place of them? Has it just been narrowed down? So, like the curriculums in Florida and Texas, how are they teaching human sexuality to kids in the age appropriate way? Because, you always heard, did you have the talk? It's not one talk. There's a series of talks and conversations from the time your child is 9 months or 12 all the way through. It's not one conversation because at 2, they got to learn certain things about their body. At 5, they learning. At 7, at 12. So instead of this one conversation about the birds and the bees, no, sexuality has to be taught all the way through until you, from the time you come out all the way through the time you get ready to go with the ancestors, because our bodies are sexual bodies and they go through different changes. And there needs to be
Tell that
healthy
to
ways.
tell that to the people in Iowa. Tell that
Yeah,
to
I
people
mean,
in the
you don't
cornfields
want
of
them.
Iowa
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm
or
not.
Idaho. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
a rough get. That's a rough get right there.
yeah. Wherever people are, they have to learn about their bodies. We have to learn about anatomy. So I'm just curious, in these places where they ban these books, and if anyone's writing for the listening from the future, and they can comment on that, what are they replacing it with? So, you um, but yeah, thank you for that conversation. Like the show and what you're hearing, leave a comment. So I got one more video to take us out. This is going to be continuing to focus on. This was my first year. I didn't even know Banned Books Week existed or Let Freedom Day existed. So I feel really encouraged, and I'll continue in this movement. So any final comments before we wrap for the day?
Yeah, I put one up earlier. I don't know if you got to it.
Oh, okay. Hold on a moment. Oh, Janelle, she says she wouldn't object to her kids reading The Bluest Side. I was introduced to the novel in an after school Black history program. Yeah. And it is all of those themes. It is a very tough book. So that's why I was saying I agree with what you're saying, AJ, about the us being involved, parents and guardians and people being involved at the onset. And I also think that the educators need further training guiding these discussions, or anyone, because now being banned in schools, other organizations picking it up. Like I remember reading something about, like, in Florida, there's there's churches now that are forming Black History Month and different History Month programs, like around the time that there was all that attacking of CRT and anti wokeness. That's still going on. Places like uh, Girl Scouts and different programs were trying to, like, fulfill that gap, and starting Black History Month and different Jewish history and different histories that are being challenged, they're coming in now and creating organizations. But you need good facilitators. And it's a great opportunity, too, for people who are historians and educators to supplement their incomes, because some of them will pay you to lead these programs. So I think it's we're going to continue to have books. We are going to continue to read, and we're going to continue to teach. It's just going to probably have to happen in other ways. But I am concerned about the states where this is broad, these book bans, because it can create some uneven, and I'm being kind saying it that way, people, if you're not getting a well-rounded education in your formative years. So if you have whole states of people that are coming out because they only have a very limited education, and these are states that have large voter bases, they can help shape the rest of the way the country is because of the amount of people. So Texas is a very large voter based state, and so is Florida. So these are connected issues. Thank you, Janelle, for your comments and for always supporting. I see you, Janelle, and I appreciate you always supporting. So, anyone out there, please encourage others to join in. I appreciate it. All right, we got one more video to wrap the show. This is from Toni Morrison's final thoughts at Art and Social Justice.
Leave you with this thought. I think the discussion we're having is about art and social policy. I want to remind us all that art is dangerous.
That's right.
I want to remind you of the history of artists who have been murdered, slaughtered, imprisoned, chopped up, refused entrance. The history of art, whether it's in music or written or what have you, has always been bloody because dictators and people in office and people who want to control and deceive know exactly the people who will disturb their plans.
That's right.
And those people are artists. They're the ones that tell the truth. And it's something that the society has got to protect. But when you enter that field, no matter where you are, whether it's Sonia's poetry or Toshi's music or Ta-Nehisi's, rather startlingly clear prose, it's a dangerous pursuit. And somebody's out to get you.
That's right.
You have to know it before you start, and do it under those circumstances, because it is one of the most important things that human beings do.
That's right.
That's what we do.
That's right.
From Mother Toni. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday, and we will see you back next week for another episode.